Hi, thanks for clicking on the link. My name's Andrew, working at Action Your Potential, and you guys are working with us on the Learning Neuro Ninja program. And I just wanted to kind of talk you through how it works. You're busy people, so I made a quick video to explain how it's going to work over the next few weeks and months. So let's dive in. So it's called Learning Neuro Ninja, and it's all about using cognitive science, psychology, and neuroscience to help students and their parents understand the daily learning behaviours that need to be carried out to support the fantastic work you do in lessons. In fact, if we don't encode the information in our brain as we go along, we forget huge amounts of it. All of you will remember the Ebbinghaus curve of forgetting. 70% of any experience is forgotten within the first 24 hours by the brain. And that's a design feature of the brain. It's designed to forget information as well as remember information. It remembers three sorts of information best: important information, dangerous information, and repeat information. So the mission of Learning Neuro Ninja is to support students and their parents to understand that science in bite-sized, actionable chunks and give them a new habit to develop each week to build a self-directed study slot. So we're going to look with all of the students over the course of the next few months at all of these details, the 10 leaps in learning. Those of you that have worked with us for a while are aware of the 12 rocks of well-being. We've done exactly the same in relation to the science, but we've looked at leaps in learning, and we've called them leaps because they're not necessarily intuitive responses. This is not how the brain feels learning is most effective. When we're cramming information in, when we're highlighting text, when we're rereading stuff, we get this kind of illusion of mastery, this sense that we've understood it. Whereas actually, what cognitive science, psychology, and neuroscience show us, there are particular ways that are extremely effective at supporting building of memory and encoding information. And we've turned them into 10 leaps, which we're going to teach the students in an incremental way, building up this structured self-directed study slot. So there's know, you can grow, which is the key idea, linked a bit to Carol Dweck's notion of growth mindset, but including within it lots of information about neuroscience and actually what's going on at the level of the neuron in the brain. Plan every day to take responsibility to develop your neural plasticity, to build the learning you need. So we're going to support students to identify a time in the day when they're going to build their self-directed study slot, and we're going to teach them every element that goes into that self-directed study slot and how it works. Learn as you go is the main idea, that you're going to spend a little bit of time every day as a student working within this self-directed study slot to maximize your recall. And we're going to be exploring in that session about learning as three processes, not one. Understanding that learning is getting the information and understanding it, practicing it, and using it. And we'll be supporting students to understand that process in detail. We'll teach them memory building activities, ways to enhance the development of schema in their head. We'll introduce them to the idea of a Pomodoro. More on that in a little while. We'll talk about the importance of daily well-being, and we will reference the rocks of well-being and how important they are in relation to attention, focus, and memory. Well-being is not some separate activity. If we don't look after the well-being of the brain, the physical architecture of those connections, the version of ourselves, the attention, the memory, the flexibility available, the cognitive output available is reduced. We'll then explore the whole issue of procrastination and why waiting for the feeling to strike you that you want to study is not the way to go. We're going to talk about how to manage that step through lethargy, why the brain suffers procrastination, and how mood, emotion, and motivation are linked together, how to structure learning to manage motivation, but with the clear expectation that you're going to have to do it anyway, whether you want to or not, and what motivation is in the brain. We're going to look at how to respond to mistakes and how important feedback is and how they should take feedback and feed forward to improvement, and how they should manage the negative responses their brain will give to feedback, and how they can bounce back quickly from mistakes, and the importance of mistakes in learning. When we make mistakes in learning, as we all know as teachers, we remember far better the ensuing learning because we made a mistake initially. We'll look at effortful learning and really saying that any sort of learning isn't easy. If they've got an expectation that learning's easy, they're just wrong. It's effortful, it involves connections, it involves neurotransmitters, it involves neuromodulators, it involves a massive amount of effort. We'll also look at deliberate practice and how to design little and often learning slots to overcome barriers to learning. We'll look at chunking information so you'll know about this. We'll reference practice throughout all of these 10 leaps in learning, but particularly we'll talk about spaced practice and why it's so powerful from the level of the neuron up. We'll look at interleaving, and we'll look at that whole process of how interleaving and spacing and retrieval practice work together to enhance kind of recall. We'll look at the power of low stakes quizzes, interleaving the practice and designing low stakes quizzes using flashcards to support retrieval practice. We'll look at the importance of struggle in terms of retrieval and how powerful that is in terms of laying down memory. And then we'll look at how to design desirable difficulties, challenges, and how important they are for learning, and how to build high expectations without putting yourself under such poisonous pressure that actually you're ending up in a situation as a student where you're reducing your cognitive capacity because you're constantly overthinking your approach to exams, reducing your cognitive output in those exams. And we've all worked with students that work too much and frazzle themselves out. Equally, we've worked with loads of students that don't work anywhere near as much as they should, and it's about creating that kind of healthy balance. All of the work is based on the plasticity of the brain, and we talk a lot about that. We teach students why spaced practice works from the level of the brain. We use the most up-to-date neuroscience, but explained really simply for parents and students to access. It's really important because once the brain understands how it works, it can really begin to apply that to its daily experience, and we'll teach the students and their parents how to build these habits and how the process of habit construction needs to be managed on a daily basis. And we'll talk about the idea that our brain changes throughout our lives. The pitch really is to all of the students to say neuroscience evidence makes it clear that we all need to develop a daily self-directed study habit. There is 15% of our life in school, 85% of our lives outside school, and we are going to need to step up to the plate in a structured way, which we'll teach them. Lots of evidence proves that it works, where they're going to need to engage in a daily self-directed study habit of 25 minutes, 6 days a week. But we kind of make that an incremental journey. We don't go straight into that. We build it up over a number of weeks and months. And we say, basically, if you're not going to listen to the evidence, effectively, you're going to ignore the evidence in terms of learning. And it's a bit like a smoker ignoring the evidence of the impact of smoking on health. It's really important to respond to the evidence. And once we do, we can get so much more out of our brain, both in terms of well-being and in terms of daily learning and memory. And we'll be teaching them the construction of a habit by looking at how awareness plays a key role, arguments for change, making a change through identifying a time and place, and repeatedly engaging in that activity in that time and place for a short duration initially, and then how to stretch that habit to make it last. We'll be pitching it to them as daily self-directed study slots to help them remember more with less exam stress, no need to cram, learn faster, remember future learning better by constructing robust schema using retrieval practice, interleaving, spaced practice, and learn how to apply this process of learning to every aspect of learning. And we'll be asking students to build these 25-minute self-directed study slots called Pomodoros, and have 6 of them a week. One of them will be devoted to quizzing, and we'll be looking with them at the importance of a study buddy or involving their parents and carers in a process of quizzing them. We'll teach them all of these kind of 10 leaps of learning in one slot a week. The best way for it to work is one tutorial slot, one mentor time slot a week becomes devoted to the next video. And you will always get the videos for the whole term ahead. There will be 8 of them on our website available, one a week. And we'll also supply you with a letter that you can send home to parents to say, this is the video they watched this week. It'd be really helpful if you could watch the video, because at the end of the video, there's a habit for the kid and there's a habit for the parent. You'll access the materials by going to our website. Just click on the instructions in the email that came with this video. Become a member of our website, then you go to your school's page type in the password, which is also in the email, and you'll be able to access that Learning Neuro Ninja channel for your school, where all the videos will be. And there's lots more information on our website as well. Every video ends with an activity for both students and parents to support the development of these new habits. And if you're in a school where we've got a bespoke element, where we're working with a group of vulnerable students or high performing students, or whichever students you select, you'll hear from us in terms of organising coaching sessions, which will always begin in school with meetings with students, and then we'll go online with meetings with parents and students in the evenings for the 6 to 8 months that we're working with those students to take those leaps in learning live into people's lives and support parents and children in implementing them. If you're a school listening to this saying we'd like a slice of that bespoke element, not a problem. We've got about 3 spaces left, because as you'll imagine, that is fairly labour intensive, and we can only do the bespoke element with certain of our clients. But do get in touch if that's something that you think your school could benefit from. It's about taking the Learning Neuro Ninja videos up close and in detail, one-to-one bespoke coaching with students and their parents to build these habits in every single week. And every single video ends with a try daily life experiment like this. So this is a daily life experiment for one of the videos. Identify a time when you can do your self-directed study slot. 1 slot, same time, 6 times a week. And then there's this kind of linked activity for parents. It's always about linking the parents. So it's for the whole community, focused generally in most schools on a specific year group. So I'm imagining as I'm making this video, this is being played to a year team, maybe a year 11 team or a year 10 team, in terms of when the videos are going to be dropped and how they're going to support your students. So thanks for listening. Any further questions, just get in touch, and you'll see those details in the description below this video. Thanks for listening.